Marvel Rivals doesn't need more heroes right now. It needs to fix the ones it already has. We are sitting at 47 heroes. Yes, 47. That is a massive number. A lot of personalities, a lot of kits, a lot of heroes and playstyles to manage. And I understand balancing and updating that many characters isn't easy, but roster size doesn't excuse roster neglect. Don't get me wrong, we all have a long list of heroes and villains that we want in the game. Like my top 3 is Ghost Rider, Juggernaut, and Miles Morales. But that doesn't mean we can ignore the heroes that we have already, because at the rate we're going, I've seen certain characters slowly drift into irrelevance, while others get dragged into the alley and metaphorically executed by the devs. This game is good at character assassination, so who was Rivals' first victim? Black Widow. From the jump, she was designed for a completely different game. And before anyone says it, no, Black Widow doesn't need buffs. And she absolutely doesn't need a one-shot. If anything, a one-shot would make things worse. She needs a new identity. I've already accepted something a lot of people don't want to admit. A traditional sniper hero isn't healthy in a game like Marvel Rivals. Shoot, it's not even healthy in a game like Overwatch. Especially in a sustain heavy, cooldown layer, poke dominant environment, you're asking for a permaban. You just can't drop a long range precision hero into a game built around layered healing and ability cycling and expect it to function the same way in slower shooters. So what's the solution? Dual pistols. Hold on. Before you click off, hear me out. Black Widow should feel like her MCU counterpart. Agile, tactical, close-up, calculated, efficient. Wait a minute, let me take a quick comic book deep dive. Okay, I'm back. Natasha Romanoff was enhanced. She is a super soldier variant, highly conditioned, peak human, a tactical genius. And you know what's crazy? There's nothing super about her in Rivals. She just snipes. That's it. And before y'all start cooking me, no, I didn't watch her solo movie. I'm sorry. But even without that, we know Widow isn't just a girl with a rifle. So let's build it from the ground up. First, that sniper, it has to go completely. Replace it with dual pistols. It has to have a fast fire rate, be precise with a little bit of recoil, a strong hero in the mid-range with burst. Make her a flanker, not a full dive like Spider-Man, but also not a full assassin like Psylocke. A disruptor with dive-esque elements. Now here's where it gets interesting. Give her a cloaking mechanic, not full invisibility like everybody else in the game. I'm talking like a Predator style cloaking device. It might not be 100% comic book accurate, but who's really counting? Like for instance, when has the Hulk ever gave his teammates shield in the comics? Exactly, that's my point. Okay, this is my favorite part about her kit that she needs. Give her electro-based stun gauntlets. Short range, a skill-based, not oppressive, but a real punishment tool. If Widow gets close, she should feel like she's dangerous. I just want to stop and say thank y'all so much for the recent support. Y'all boosted me to 600 subscribers in 2 days. We were sitting at like 400. We are so close to 700 by the end of the month. That was the goal. I know it's a big goal, but I have faith in this community, so hit that subscribe button. On August 8th, the main man dropped. No, not that one. I'm talking about Blade. And here's something that y'all don't know. I used to be a Spider-Man one trick, but when Blade was announced, I was ready to hang up the mask. That's how much faith I had in him. And thank goodness I didn't, because Blade did not live up to the hype. And honestly, it's not even entirely his fault. He was mishandled from the jump. In a live service game, a hero doesn't get forgotten overnight. It happens when their fantasy doesn't match their gameplay. The strengths that are advertised are never fully delivered. Other characters do their job better with less risk. That destroys a character's perception. And once players ask, why would I pick this? It is over. Because a player's competitive mentality, especially in ranked, is very simple. It is to minimize risk while maximizing value, but most importantly, it is to win games. And if a hero makes you work twice as hard for half the impact, people move on. That's what happened to Blade. See, something more nuanced in this conversation is the fun factor. Because personally, I play Spider-Man and you do have to work twice as hard and sometimes you get half amount of effort. However, the hero is extremely fun to play, so that's what sells me on it. Someone like Blade, I don't find fun and I kind of find him a little bit generic. Let's start with marketing. He was introduced as an anti-heal duelist. People were scared. Triple support cons were running rampant, and Blade was supposed to be the answer. But here's the problem. It wasn't real anti-heal. It was half-baked and high risk. And when it was good, a nerf got tacked onto it. If I'm picking Blade to counter sustain, I should feel like I'm shutting it down. Instead, I'm diving into danger just to apply something that barely changes the fight. You can't market a hero to counter something and then make the counter suboptimal. Rivals has this habit of not fully committing to the bit. If I'm playing Blade, I should feel like I'm playing Blade, not some budget sword hero with a shotgun identity crisis. On paper, his kit sounds fine. Mid-range shotgun, close-range sword, and lifesteal, but in practice, it doesn't flow. All I wanted was his signature weapon, something iconic. Give us Blade's boomerang. That screams vampire hunter. Instead, we have a half-baked shotgun that still struggles at close range on a hero who's supposed to close distance. His sword makes you commit, however his shotgun wants you to hover mid-range. There is no clean synergy, and in high-level play, his awkward kit gets punished fast. Blade got forgotten the same season he's released. He's underperformed since then. You want a better shotgun? Pick Punisher. You want better dive? Pick Black Panther. You want better anti-heal? Pick Gambit. You want a better sword hero? Pick Magic. And if you want a better hero overall, just play Elsa. When a hero gets abandoned, it hurts more than just the character. It signals to the player your favorite hero might not be worth investing in. In a hero-based game, emotional attachment is everything. If you hype a character, market him as a meta sifter, and then never fully realize him, you damage trust. Blade didn't fail because the concept was weak. He failed because the execution never matched the promise. And that's how heroes just don't fall behind, they eventually fade out. Blade isn't the only example of this problem. He's just the clearest one. But once you zoom out, you start seeing the pattern. Let's talk about Human Torch, Mantis, and Iron Man. All three of these heroes went through something Blade never really got, meta shifting attention. But the way it happened, that's where things get messy. Here's something I want to coin, it's the meta shifting cycle. It's how live service balance usually works. A hero becomes strong, then said heroes' pick rates skyrocket. The community ends up complaining and the devs hit them with a hard nerf. The three heroes that I said have definitely felt that. However, you have some heroes who just slide right past, like Hela, Hawkeye, Gambit, except those heroes actually got nerfs in this recent patch, which I'm actually quite surprised, but it took them many seasons to do it. Like Hela has been good since season 0, and the patch/nerf that she did receive, it's not gonna like completely tank her. Now Hawkeye on the other hand, pull him to the back alley and execute him because he is deep fried. Human Torch and Iron Man were meta threats. That flyer season, they went stupid. And Mantis was a support powerhouse. But instead of gradual tuning, we've seen heavy-handed adjustments, hard nerf, power stripped too quickly, and in some cases, team-ups removed, like Mantis, and those team-ups were the reason why certain heroes function at high levels. You guys, that's not light balancing, that's identity removal. And when you remove the synergy that made heroes viable, you're not only tuning numbers, you're reshaping how they exist in the ecosystems. We have to ask ourselves, are team-ups used for strengths or crutches? Team-ups are supposed to add depth, but when a hero's strength is tied too heavily to a team-up, what happens is the synergy disappears once they drop. Some heroes were balanced around those bonuses, remove them, and suddenly they feel hollow. Now let's compare that to how Adam Warlock and Storm were handled. They were being forgotten by the community, underperforming, they were falling behind, but the community noticed, and they got the meaningful buffs they deserve. Not just +1 damage or tiny tweaks, real changes that restored viability. That's the difference. That feels intentional. That also feels fair. Fairness isn't about power, it's about consistency. If a hero like Spidey dominates and then gets obliterated by nerfs, while a hero like Storm pre-buff gets no attention from the devs and underperforms, that feels inconsistent, and inconsistency damages trust. Balance doesn't need to make everybody equal. Like Squirrel Girl and Wanda should never feel equal to Spider-Man. There's just not enough skill expression, but it needs to feel fair. When Adam and Storm were lifted back into relevance, that showed the devs can act decisively. So why does it feel so selective? My theory might rub some of y'all the wrong way. It's money. Yeah, money and marketing. A high pick rate often means more visibility, more skins sold, and more marketing presence. When a hero is meta, they're in every highlight clip, every ranked match, every streamer's montage. That drives cosmetic sales up, from emotes to skins galore. So when a hero drops out of meta, they lose more than just their win rate. They lose their spotlight. If a character like Human Torch or Iron Man dominates the skies for a season, skins fall off the shelf. And when they're nerfed, only their dedicated fan base is going to buy a skin, which is way less than the general pop. If Blade disappears from rank, so does his revenue potential. Now, I'm not saying balance is dedicated by skins only, but in a live service game, pick rates matter financially, and players are not blind to that. So let's discuss the player and dev dynamic. Live service games compete for players' attention. Things like time, money, and the player's ties to the characters they play, that all comes into play. Now, developers control balance, direction, and who rises and falls in the game, and we can see that clear as day in Marvel Rivals. And relationship feels cohesive, the game thrives. Now, let's talk about the opposite side. When the relationship feels one-sided, that builds resentment, because a player feels like my hero can be ignored for months on end with no changes, and my hero can be gutted overnight. They hesitate to invest emotionally, and emotional investment is the backbone to hero shooters, because it's all tied back to players' willingness to spend money. Blade is getting left behind, Torch is getting slammed, Mantis has been overcorrected, and Iron Man is losing his key synergies. These aren't isolated events, they create patterns, a pattern where either a hero dominates or gets hard nerfed, and then eventually fades into irrelevance, but you guys already knew that. Instead of being carefully tuned into stable roles, meanwhile, characters like Adam and Storm prove that thoughtful buffs can restore balance without breaking the game. In my mind, players want consistency, fairness, and clear direction. When heroes are forgotten, that hurts diversity. When heroes are overly nerfed, that hurts player confidence. And when team-ups are removed without proper compensation, that hurts the identity. Balance isn't just about numbers, it's about trust. And if trust weakens between players and devs, the entire ecosystem can collapse. Blade is just a warning sign, let's be honest. So tell me, do you guys agree or disagree with my stance on this game? I think this game has a bright future ahead of it. It just has some small bumps. This game is still early, so I'm not really too critical on it. I just want to make sure that everybody feels seen. I think in this channel, I want to make sure that voices get heard, and that's one thing I really want to push. So if you guys do enjoy my videos, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Peace out.